transition to New York, and let's discuss the New York Jets and their 31-10 win over the Chicago Bears. Remember last week, Robert Saleh benched Zach Wilson for Mike White. Mike White had a sensational performance. He went 22 of 28. He threw for 315 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. And Robert Saleh, after the game, he said when it comes to the Jets and their quarterback situation, he said, quote, "It's a week-to-week deal. The full intent is to get Zach ready to play football again." So the Jets, with their win over the Chicago Bears, the Jets improved to 7-4 on the season. And honestly, I believe that Robert Saleh should stick with Mike White until further notice, because I saw a New York Jets football team that played motivated and they played for Mike White. You look at the Jets offensively and what they were able to do in this game. They had 292 total yards of offense. They had a balanced attack. I'm sorry. They had 466 total yards of offense. They had 308 passing yards, 158 rushing yards. So they had a completely balanced attack between the running game and the passing attack. Anytime you can rush for over 150 yards and throw for over 300 passing yards, that's a balanced attack. And then their running backs played inspired. Zonovan Knight, he had 14 carries, 69 rushing yards, averaged close to 5 yards per carry. And Ty Johnson, he had 5 carries, 62 rushing yards. He averaged close to 13 yards per carry. So that Jets offense, they were motivated and they played for Mike White. And I thought in the game as well, their receiver, Garrett Wilson, he played some great football. 5 receptions, 95 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. So offensively, the Jets played great football, albeit against a terrible Bears defense. The Bears defense is awful. But I have to give credit where it's due, because Mike White was sensational in this game. He replaced Zach Wilson, and I watched the sideline as I watched this game, and you could tell that the Jets players were excited for Mike White. And it really, really puts into question Zach Wilson's leadership. And that's why I believe Saleh should stick with Mike White until further notice, because Zach Wilson has been pathetic so far this season. That's why I understood the decision to bench Zach Wilson to begin with. He has been terrible so far this season, and he's been one of the main reasons why the Jets offensively have struggled. Look at Zach Wilson this season. He's completed 56% of his passes. That's ranked dead last in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. He averages 183 passing yards per game. That's ranked 31st in the NFL. He has 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That touchdown-interception ratio is ranked 32nd in the NFL. His passer rating is 72.6. That's ranked 33rd in the NFL. This is among 34 qualifying quarterbacks. Zach Wilson has been pathetic this year. So I believe if I'm Robert Saleh, I'm going to ride the hot hand. And honestly, when you look at the Jets so far this season, you could make an argument that the Jets could start Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco this season, he's 1-2. He has 300 passing yards per game. He got 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His total QBR is 33. Now, I don't believe Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback. And obviously, he's past his prime. But Joe Flacco knows how to win football games. And this Jets defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. I love the Jets defense. I really, really do. I think the Jets defensively have an outstanding defense. We know that in their secondary, they got Sauce Gardner, who I believe is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Also, they got playmakers at their defensive line positions as well. And they apply pressure better than any other team in the NFL. I love the Jets defensively. I mean, you look at their defense, and I think they're going to cause some problems this week for the Minnesota Vikings. I really, really do. I think the Vikings should be favored, and they are. But this Jets defense is nothing to sneeze at. You look at the Jets defensively. They are ranked 6th in the NFL in total yards given up. They give up 329 yards per game. They give up 198 total passing yards per game. That's ranked 8th in the NFL. They only give up 18 points per game. That's ranked 4th in the NFL. So defensively, we know the Jets have an elite defense. It's the question for the Jets is going to be whether or not they can get good quality quarterback play to be a contender in the AFC. We know you have to score points in the AFC to win football games. You got Joe Burrow and the high-powered Cincinnati Bengals. You got Patrick Mahomes in the electrifying Chiefs offense. You got Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs for the Bills. So you got to put up points in the AFC to win football games and to be a contender in the AFC. But again, out of all the playoff teams, honestly, I like the Jets defense more than any other defense. I think the Jets defense is that good. But can they get consistent quality quarterback play? I don't think the Vikings have a great pass defense. We just saw what Mac Jones did against the Vikings defense last week. So I think Mike White possibly could have another good game against the Vikings defensively this week. And I think Robert Saleh needs to ride the hot hand and keep Mike White as his starting quarterback. You're in a dogfight in the AFC. You're in a dogfight in the AFC East. Keep Mike White as your quarterback until further notice. If Mike White has a bad game, go back to the drawing board and evaluate who your starting quarterback is going to be for the foreseeable future and in the postseason if the Jets make the playoffs. But until then, keep Mike White in. I remember last year, Mike White had a great performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not saying Mike White is an elite quarterback or he's a starting quarterback in the NFL who you can build your franchise around. I'm saying keep Mike White in as your quarterback and ride the hot hand. You're in a battle for seeding in the playoffs and in the wild card race. So keep him in at this moment.